Growing up, pretty much all society has been emphasizing and telling us that our 20s are supposed to be one of the best times in our lives. Having freedom, exploring, learning more about yourself. Yet it's honestly the most confusing and uncertain time of my life. Worrying about all the change that is going to happen and needs to happen, not being where I really had hoped I would be, not to mention figuring out my real purpose and passion in life is to do work in. No matter how you look at it, it feels overwhelming, especially considering the fact that it's probably only going to get worse with the more responsibilities that we're gonna have to figure out as we only get older. So no filter, I've been giving a lot of people around me reasons to doubt me. My parents, my girlfriend. I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but basically I haven't been working as much as I could, so financially it's tight. Basically, I've got 2 to 3 months to figure out a place of my own, or I'm gonna be sleeping on the couch at my parents' place. And quite honestly, with how expensive things are and just the work choices I decided to make, it's looking like the couch. I'm very fortunate in the first place to even have a place to crash right now and in a couple of months, but still, of course, is not anywhere near what I thought it'd be when I was 21. You know, it's all my fault. I set myself up for this situation, as it's about time for a lot of us to start entering into the adult world or have already been into it, figuring out getting a place and living on our own. We're being put into the situations as a little kid we dreamt of, becoming completely independent for the first time, being an adult and being on our own, buying what we want and driving cars. But what I've come to realize is that the expectations of these times that we're supposed to be having really puts the pressure on us, especially when things aren't going how we imagined at all. And then online on everyone's highlight reel, you're trying to understand how kids your age that you went to high school with are already having kids and getting married already. People going on vacations to Cancun and Cabo while you're at home trying to save enough money so you can get that thing sitting in your Amazon shopping cart. It's pretty easy to feel behind if you aren't careful. These times for a lot of us can be some of the most isolating and intimidating times that we've ever been through. And then also, I know that the pressure is really just beginning, because as we're getting older, there's only likely to be more on our plate. I've been realizing that it's pretty common to really focus and worry about the negatives that we've got going on. It's pretty much in our human nature to notice the negatives a lot more than the positives, to make sure we survived back when we were out in the wild hunting dodo birds. You know, instead of seeing it more like an observation, we see a lot of the mistakes that we make as if it were a cringe TikTok we made. Which, I mean, it is good to have that. Like, of course, you notice and hopefully it helps you motivate to change. The last 2 years of my life, after graduating high school and then going to a local community college and saving money by living at home, I realized that I've been existing, not living. By this, I mean going with the situations that are really only convenient and comfortable, not having huge preference in what happens, and not really learning more about myself and doing what I want to try. I didn't truly find what I was studying interesting, because if I did, then I wouldn't be ChatGPTing the fuck out of it. I'm taking at least one gap year and I don't know if I want to go back to school. I've been feeling a little bit paralyzed and just very undecisive of what I should do. That I've taken the spoiled route of minimally working and then bringing my attention instead to my first personal project, this channel, which I have been enjoying. But of course, it's not fair to my parents that have been giving me a place to stay while I've been just shutting myself in, not making any money pretty much, when I've been only working part-time and then doing this. I've been treating it like a job, which is good, and I know that eventually I can become good at something like this, but it's just now they're stressing about me and my financial situation that I've set myself up for. Finally, I've decided to just swallow the fucking pill and work full time and then do this also still. But yeah, I think I really just did this channel as a way to distract myself from what I really had to deal with, which is working full time and still figuring it out. All of this even more leading me to just stressing out about what I should be doing and where I want to go from here and what the fuck the future is even gonna look like. You know, you'll get advice from people a lot of the times and they'll tell you the same thing of pretty much that they're also figuring things out. And truth is, everybody is in a constant state of figuring out their own doubt. And that's the silver lining. Everybody is writing their own books, their own chapters, their own points to get across. We've got expectations for what we expect from each chapter. Most of the times it's going to be a complete different story because life took the pen from you and wrote it down for you. But you can always take notes of what it means to you and why. Where did you expect yourself to be once COVID was over, when we were all holed up in our rooms 4 to 5 years later? Because reality is, it's almost 4 to 5 years later. What did you do with your time when the world stopped? I can tell you right now that if quarantine were to happen again today, I've changed so much that what I would do with all the time that we got from quarantine today would be a lot different from back then. Probably for you too. What it really comes down to is our expectations. expectations. We're changing day by day, but sometimes our expectations aren't because of the standards that we're holding on to. So changing and accepting how things currently are as we are is important. It's like we've been expecting so much that we don't even get surprised anymore with how far along that we've come, only seeing how far we have to go. We've got to still look at the positives and really just trust and believe in yourself to adapt. Giving yourself peace of mind is knowing that you're doing your best to try and figure things out. We've got to try having more emphasis on making the most of now than focusing on the expectations of what our future should look like. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be planning ahead or anything like that. Like, it's important to strategize, but I think it's about gaining the confidence to say, I don't know, and doing what you can to the best of your ability anyway. I don't know how long I'm gonna be sleeping on my parents' couch for, but I know that I'll figure it out. I know that you can figure it out with whatever doubt that you may be facing. You know, unless you go blind and lose a leg from a terrible accident. It just comes down to working on and towards the things that will lead to you believing and trusting in yourself more tomorrow, today. Accepting the responsibility of the doubt, surrendering to it, and doing our best about it. Have trust in yourself and your instincts. They may lead you wrong sometimes, but they're the only thing that will lead you to what's right.